Hi, you're welcome back to the Butterfly Effect. My name is Aku and I'm the founder of the Butterfly Effect Empowerment Initiative, which seeks to show that one small change can result in great transformation. So I'm coming to you with another enlightenment video today, and today's video is a follow-up on my previous video which sought to analyze how Nigeria is responding to the COVID-19 pandemic. So yeah, catch up on that video before watching this one, because that was a 3-month update and this is the 6-month update. The first case was announced in Nigeria on the 27th of February. Today is the 27th of August. So literally 6 months later, we're going to be looking at how Nigeria has responded and what's really going on, in Nigeria right now. Based on the world statistics, there are currently 24,635,518 cases. Out of that, 835,679 people have lost their lives. May their souls rest in peace, and I obviously pray for all their family, friends and loved ones. But thankfully 17,096,659 people have recovered. So coronavirus is not a death sentence. That's something that I feel like 6 months down the line we can kind of confidently say. It's not once you get it that you die. Obviously, I know it's a scary disease and I know the effects that it has had on the world, but at least now we are beginning to realize that it's something that we can overcome. We will see the other side of it, we will recover from it, and the world is not going to end because of the coronavirus, basically. So thank God for that. But then moving on now, coming back home closer to Nigeria, at present there are 53,317 cases in Nigeria, active cases 11,580, and discharge cases 40,726. Sadly, we have reached over 1,000 deaths in Nigeria. We are now currently at 1,011 deaths in Nigeria, but as you can see, there are more recoveries than there are deaths. So we're still grateful, we're still trying to be optimistic, we're still staying positive. Nigeria is overcoming, basically. But then there's just certain things I kind of wanted to highlight, just in case somebody wants to use this for their research years down the line. I don't want this video to be too long, so the 3 things I'm going to address basically are communication, testing, and finances. Not only vertical communication in the sense of how they are speaking to us, how the leaders are giving us information and responding to us, basically, but also horizontal communication in the sense of how they are speaking within themselves. So as I mentioned in the last video, horizontal communication seems to be very weak because it just seems like different states are doing different things. Like, it doesn't seem like there's one uniform message of how they are tackling the pandemic or how they are tackling the virus. So yeah, check my previous video to see all of that. But then vertical communication is what I want to stress on in this video, because there isn't really much update on horizontal. Vertical communication, that is between the government and us, the citizens, is very weak, because the last time we heard from the president was in April, when they announced the extension of the initial 2-week lockdown that he ordered, and now we're in August. Yes, there's a presidential task force that provides updates, but there's really nothing like your president coming to address the nation live, might I add, not pre-recorded or reading from a freaking note. So yeah, there has been that issue. It seems like life is going back to normal, but then nobody has officially told us anything. You're hearing different things like, oh, restaurants are opening, travel has resumed, schools are resuming soon. You're hearing different things here and there, but technically everything is just kind of a bit like unspoken right now, because if you have cared to venture out into the streets, maybe for a drink or two, you will know that no, things are back to normal. Like, you can move out past the curfew hours, nobody holds you. It's your normal checkpoints that you would have seen before the lockdown anyways. You do your high and buy and they still let you go. Like, there isn't really any rigidity to the rules now or something. I don't even know how to explain it, but it's just like, it just seems like, okay, it's on set that life has gone back to normal and the lockdown is over. One other thing is that domestic travel has resumed. I actually made a vlog on my personal page traveling from Lagos to Abuja, so you can check that out to see what the compliance was like with all the COVID regulations. So that was in July that the travel bans were lifted, the domestic travel bans. The international travel bans were meant to be lifted tomorrow, the 28th, but then in reality it was postponed to the 5th of September so that they said they're not yet ready or something. So, you know, travel is basically resuming. And I know since around like July, they have been doing like evacuation flights for Nigerians who may have been stranded in other countries. So people have been coming back, and my friend who was on the flight said that, you know, his passport was taken by NCDC. He was tested, but a month later he still hadn't received his passport back, and he literally had to go to the NCDC office in Yaba and pay a few people so that they could like facilitate his test and give him his passport back. Test came back negative, but can we even really trust those tests when the sample was taken a month after and the result was not released until like basically 2 days ago? Testing is something that the NCDC has been in control of, but then with the listing of the travel bans, I feel like there is a lapse in the testing, because now somebody like me that flew in from Lagos to Abuja, I had to get privately tested. I feel like NCDC is only bothered about people who are traveling from outside the country and coming back in, but they don't even recognize that those of us that are still inside here, we're just still sharing between ourselves. There's a lack of trust. That's something I want to mention when it comes to the NCDC and how they're handling it. In the last video, I tried to commend them because, you know, we recognize that they are thriving within their limitations. You know, they're doing the best that they can do. They are basically a toothless bulldog, because when you look at the law that forms them, like, they can't really act without government's power basically, or money, and they need government to provide them with that money. So, you know, NCDC is crippled in that regard, and I feel like it's affecting the credibility of their work, because I don't like the fact that I'm hearing that my friend could just pay someone off to like facilitate his test and give him like back his passport. I'm not naming any names so that I'm not implicating anybody, but you know, so those that know sha, and if you know somebody, you know what is likely happening. So, and even NCDC, they are sending out this report now on what they've done and how they are handling the pandemic, and you see a lot of their achievements are they've issued a report or they have released a new protocol. It's a lot of word-based things. It's not action, as in NCDC is not taking action. They're just typing a bunch of things and putting out a bunch of reports, but I guess they are meant to be also a source of information for us, so they are doing well in that regard. But in regard of actually saying I can trust the efficiency of their testing and the efficiency of their reporting, I'm not sure if I can, in all honesty. The biggest thing, the last thing, is the finances. We know that billions have been donated, not only by the government but also by private individuals and organizations for COVID relief, and there's no transparency, there's no efficiency. We don't even know the total amount of funds that were donated. We don't even know how the funds are still being used till now. In fact, we know that 151 billion was mismanaged by the NDDC. Why is it always my brothers and sisters? The NDDC is different from the NCDC, by the way. NDDC is the Niger Delta Development Commission, and they mismanaged the funds that they were meant to be using as COVID palliative. 150 something billion. They just shared it between themselves, and you see the guy getting probed and he's forming as if he's fainting or God knows what. Like, Nigeria is a joke. I'm actually tired of Nigeria being a joke. I'm tired of the fact that, like, we're talking about a pandemic and how our leaders are handling a pandemic, and we still have this kind of scandal going on when you know that everybody is watching, when you know that this is actually crisis period now. Like, this is actually not the time to be stealing. Like, it's still shambles over here basically. Like, things are back to normal because they are back to stealing. That's how you know, like, things are back to normal, because like, they are not even scared again. Like, the corruption has just resumed. So yeah, there is still a lack of transparency and efficiency in that regard. Overall, I would say that I'm still very unimpressed with how Nigeria is handling the pandemic, but I'm grateful to be a Nigerian. I'm grateful for our tenacity and our resilient spirit, and the fact that, like, you know, we just keep thriving, we just keep pushing, and you can't hold us down. Like, Nigerians have found a way. we're coping, we're moving on, we're doing what we always do and just, keeping it pushing. But there's still a lot of lapses that need to be addressed, and I just didn't even want this video to be too long, but I felt I just needed to add to the conversation of what's going on 6 months later. Like, a lot of the problems addressed in my 3 months video are still present, and in fact there's even more evidence about the distrust that we need to have in our leaders and how they can handle pandemics and crises. So yeah, if I missed anything, please definitely leave a comment, or if there is also some credit that I should have been given that I didn't give, please leave a comment. But we'll continue watching, because as I was actually just doing some research for this video, I realized that on the 7th of August, the World Bank issued a press release that they have approved a $114 million grant to help Nigeria prevent and detect the spread of COVID. So we will see how that grant is used, basically. We'll continue watching, we'll continue observing, and I will continue updating you guys. Don't forget that one small change can result in great transformation.
But we keep waiting.